Hello, hello. How are you doing today? It is Teresa Mazzella here from createasoulfullife.com, your soulful business strategist for spiritual entrepreneurs. I am here today with an amazing, amazing woman. Her name is Brenda Jasmin. We met during the positive psychology program, and I am just so amazed with what she has been creating since the program has ended. Brenda is a certified life coach, and she's an educator in positive psychology. And she is super passionate about helping people create more meaning, fulfillment, and happiness in their lives in a very authentic and connected way. So I'm so excited to be here with Brenda today. We could chat forever, so I'm not really sure where the conversation is going to go. But we're here really today talking about bringing soul values into your life and into your business. So Brenda, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thanks, Teresa. First of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me to come on here and talk to you today. This is a great opportunity. And yeah, I'm a speaker and a workshop facilitator and a life coach. And I love helping to support women to go after their dreams and their goals and design a life that they love. And I'm really loving marrying positive psychology with my background of coaching women to go after their goals and their dreams. So I'm really fully stepping into that business now, and I'm really excited to be sharing this with, and actually I shouldn't just say women, I actually do, I do speak with men too. Specifically, I have parents and teachers around positive psychology as well.
And you are creating this amazing brand and trend, or it's not so much of a trend, but this amazing brand and business around positivity. So you are creating these positivity talks, and then you've had this amazing grand event at the Royal York in Toronto, which was a positivity event where women came dressed like they're ready for a tea party. And then tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, it was one of the things actually we did in our class, the class that we had together. Remember, Teresa, we had to set a big goal. Mm-hmm. And one of the big goals I set for myself was to really launch my business and run it up, sort of stepping into it full time. And I decided I would run something called a positivity, where I would marry my love of high tea, afternoon tea, and British culture. My parents are from England, so tea is something we've always done had afternoon tea, and it's something I've grown up with, scones and tea and stuff like that. And so the idea was to create an event that was kind of like an edutainment event, where it's bringing, and again, my heart is I love bringing women together in community. And so the idea was to share positive psychology, bring women together in community, and also have that fun entertainment value of going out, dressing up. Some people had their hats and dressing up and going to the Fairmont Royal York in Toronto for high tea or afternoon tea. And so it's kind of bringing all those concepts together, those passions that I have. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of fun. It was a sold out event. We had there were 38 women, I think, all together. And it was a great afternoon. And it was like, yeah, indulging in afternoon tea, but also learning. And people seem to really be interested in learning about the science of happiness and well-being. So it was a great way to bring it all together.
So inspiring. I found that event just so inspiring, bringing the women together and allowing them to savor while you're teaching about happiness. And savoring is actually one way to create happiness. And so I know I can see, and plus we've talked about it, is that you really bring in your soul values to creating this business and creating these workshops. And so now soul values is what I call them, because I'm bringing in that energy part of what I do and that spiritual side of what I do. Soul values is my term for it, but what soul values really are, and in the positive psychology world, are strengths and values, which are qualities that come most naturally to us. And they help us really thrive in our life, in our business, and they keep us flourishing. Soul values is something that we carry within us and within our personality each and every day. Whether you know you're using them or not, you are using them, and we all have these strengths. I look at it, however, a little bit deeper than just strengths of the personality and values of the personality. I look at this as the essence of your soul, the essence of who you are. So that's why I kind of went with calling them soul values with my clients, simply because I feel like they're come from such a deep place within your heart and your soul, and that's why sometimes we don't even recognize that we're using them. And then when we start to use them, the little light inside of us can really start to shine, and we start working with ourselves rather than against ourselves, because sometimes we push against the grain because we think that something should be a certain way, and it feels off and it feels out of alignment. And then when we lean into and learn about our soul values, we can start to see why something didn't work for us or why something felt off. And then when we start to move into our soul values, that's when we start creating more alignment. That's when we could start creating that authenticity within our life, that authenticity within our business. And I really feel like values and strengths allow us to tap into that flow space, and start to create an on-purpose way of living. So tell me how your soul values have been a part of your business and the creation of your business. And you can tell me some of your top values too.
Okay. Thanks, Teresa. Just listening to you talk, it's just reminding me of us being in our program together, and I could listen to you talk about this all day. I love your insights and the way everything that you add to this and what you bring to the table with positive psychology. You always have such a great take on it. So, and I love that you're calling them soul values, and you're so right. Like, I think when we're coming from that place of really living in our strengths, living in our values, that is where the flow happens, because and I think the part that we forget is it's actually really fun.
Yes.
Live in that place. Like, it feels, and they talk about strengths blindness, how sometimes we don't even realize that we're using our strengths because it comes so naturally to us. And we think, well, isn't that easy for everyone? And it's actually not. And so I think when you start to realize what your strengths are, and you start actually honoring them and using them instead of brushing them aside, thinking, well, they're natural, they're not really something of value. I think once you start stepping into them, you have fun, and it doesn't feel like work when you're in your business. I mean, there's still work to do, but it definitely creates a lot of ease and flow and grace when you're in your values. So my soul values are hope is my number one, hands down, and love, and zest for life, which maybe that's why I like the fun side, why I bring that up, and gratitude, and humor, and love of learning. So those are my top soul values. And so with my business, part of what I'm doing is I'm just, well, one of the things I think is like, what feels like fun to me? So maybe that's the zest for life. So what type of event would I want to go to? And try and create something. I'm lucky that my client group, I'm the same demographic as my client group. So I can easily say, well, what would I like to do? Well, I like to go for high tea, or I'd like to get together with other women and talk about things that are meaningful and important. And so definitely stepping into that, the zest for life, the fun. And then I think hope, for me, a big part is inspiring people. That I think people, they forget, they and a lot of women, they don't take time for themselves, and they bury their own goals and dreams. They're serving everyone else, pleasing everyone else. And I want to inspire hope in women and men, but in the main focus of my business, helping them to believe in their dreams again and go after what it is they love. And I think love infuses everything I do. I actually, at my tea, I had, these aren't the ones, but I know, Teresa, you really love your angel cards and stuff. So I had the Chris Carr, the Crazy Sexy Love Note.
I love those.
And I gave everybody one. I had one at everyone's place setting for them to take. And I just try and make people, I want people, my clients, to feel pampered and loved. And I want it to ripple out so that they feel like these are women who don't do a lot for themselves. They're getting that from me, and then they can go and share that with others and have the energy to go after their dreams and the energy to be a better parent and person and be out in the world spreading positive psychology and sharing their gifts. Those are two really important things. And humor has come through. It's fun. I don't necessarily think of myself as a comedian, or when I'm speaking that I'm telling jokes. And yet I find that when I'm doing my own thing, and this is one of the things I found really interesting when I did my my session at the Royal York, I kept saying things and people were laughing at my jokes. And I was like, and I don't remember when I used to do corporate training and development. So I design and deliver training programs, and I would use humor in the moment. However, I always felt I was on someone else's agenda, whether it was the company that had hired me to come in or the company I was representing. I couldn't necessarily feel like I was truly being myself. Or even if I was collaborating with someone else, I would be thinking about their agenda as well. And when I stepped into my own event and when I did it my way and had the freedom to do that, I actually, I was like really, my humor was coming out. So this soul value, this strength was coming out that I hadn't necessarily been able to bring forward fully, or felt I could be fully me and let that shine through.
And it's so natural. I'm not sure, like when you're watching this interview, Trevor's watching this or this chat, if you can feel the alignment within Brenda's soul and her voice and the way these events started just to boom immediately, I really feel it's because she found alignment and she started creating these events based on her core values, based on her essence. And when she started really working with herself, she found the alignment, which allowed her to fill these events, which allowed her to attract the amazing clients that show up in her events, because you do fill them with ease as well. And I noticed, there's so many places I can take this right now. The one thing I'd love to take this is you are attracting clients to fill your event so that you can assist them and serve them with your passion, which is one way to view it. The other way of attracting clients that are aligned with you is that they allow you to shine your light and to really embrace and embody your values on an even deeper level. Because, like, as you said with the humor, they laughed at your jokes. They laughed at what you were saying. So it sounds like it affirmed those soul values or those values in you even more, so that you can start living them even more. So it's almost like a reciprocity. It's like giving and receiving for each other. So it's not just one way. So it's not just a matter of you attracting clients that are aligned with you so that you can serve them. But when we have clients that are really aligned with us and sent to us, when the universe sends us those amazing clients or clients to our events, they also are a mirror to you, and they also help you serve with more passion, and you serve and shine your light even brighter. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I hadn't necessarily thought of it that way, but I think you're right, Teresa, that and I do feel like it's a gift. When my clients, when they show up, I feel like they're a gift and a blessing to me. And I want to be of service to them. And yet, yeah, like sometimes, you know, I don't know who gets more because it does. It's energizing for me and really validating. And so, yeah, while I want to serve them, them coming and sharing and giving of themselves. And I mean, the people that show up to my events, these are very smart women. I have some real powerhouses that show up. Some of them are, they're entrepreneurs, they're at-home moms, they're women in business that actually are taking some time off to do some personal development or investing in themselves if it's a weekend or evening event. So I think we learn from each other, definitely. And I think you're right. Like, it's a gift. It's a gift when your clients allow you to step into your soul values and your strengths, and they validate that for you, and it makes you want to. It actually energizes you, because as we know as entrepreneurs, it's a long haul. It can be, you know, it's not always the fun and the excitement. There are the days when we're really having to work hard and make things happen. And this is what fuels me. It's what keeps me going. And that's what makes it, that's what kind of brings the ease. And so the days when I'm like, oh, I have to do this or that, it's like, yeah, but if I do this, then I get to go and show up at that event, and I have those amazing people that are going to show up as well and share. So
yeah, it's I love that, because in what I also felt within that is that when you attract the clients that are really aligned with you and ready to work with you, they inspire you to live your soul values so that you can show up even better for them. Mm-hmm. And you can serve them even better or even more. And it's just that beautiful giving and receiving relationship that you create when you really come from a place of leaning into your values each day. And I really feel like part of you attracting those amazing clients and clients that give you energy is because you are leaning into those values. And that's the energy and vibration that you are creating these events from. And so the energy sometimes that we do put out in the world is what we attract. And sometimes it's not all about, you know, putting out positive or negative. I mean, that's just so black and white. Life flows. However, when we approach it from putting out the vibration of our soul values, it comes from that space. We're putting out our beauty within us. So, because a lot of times, you know, you hear, oh, you've got to put out positive energy and positive energy will come to you. You know, it's not always realistic to constantly put out positive energy. But if we put out our energy and create a vibration based upon our soul values, then that creates that beautiful pathway to flow and authenticity and alignment, even when those days are a little tough, even when we face challenges. And the other thing I wanted to touch upon is, as entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, is that it's so important for us to show up daily and consistently. And that can sometimes be difficult. I know it's something that I work on, but when we start to work from our soul values, I feel like it's so much, or core values or strengths, whatever you call them, it's so much easier to show up because we create more ease. And again, we're working with ourselves. Do you find that it's easier to show up when you're creating from the space of your values?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it's you're being yourself, right? Yeah. You're doing what comes naturally. So yeah, definitely. I think that helps me in my business. It helps me on those days. And definitely having hope as one of my soul values is great, because I might be overly optimistic sometimes and be like, okay, I think this is going to work, you know, and I'll use that hope. I'll use that in my favor. and that zest, I think. And yeah, I think I just, I don't know if I'm answering that question properly, but I think, yeah, definitely on those days when it's tough, when I step into my values, I think, and my soul values, it's easier, and it feels right, and it feels real. And I think that my clients feel that too. And the other thing I wanted to point out too, it's that whole Marianne Williamson thing about when you shine, you allow other people to do the same. And so what I'm realizing, and this is sort of a byproduct of what I'm doing, is that even if people aren't coming to my events, they're stopping me when they see me and they're saying, Brenda, I'm so inspired by what you're doing. I couldn't make it out to this, or maybe it's just not their thing, but they're like, I am so inspired by the fact that you're going after your goals, and you're going after your dreams, and it makes me think about my own. And I love that. So sometimes, you're posting something on Facebook, or you're posting and you sort of feel like you're not sure, am I bugging people, or sending out yet another email, and because maybe people aren't saying anything, and yet what I'm finding is people are watching what we're doing as entrepreneurs, and just by living, running a soul-based business, a heart-centered business, and going after our goals and dreams, we are inspiring other people to do that. So sometimes I'll say that to myself if I feel inspired to post something on Facebook or do something. I think, oh, have I posted too much? Is that too much? Is it going to seem, am I going to be bothering people? And then it's in that moment I'll think about that person. I'll say, you know what? There's probably someone out there that because I'm inspired to post this or to say this, I have a feeling that someone will be. There's a reason why I'm thinking that, and I want to share that. And usually that is what happens, is that, and sometimes you don't even know, but you just have to trust and have hope that it is serving somehow, because it's coming from, I listen to that intuition, which I know you're really big on, Teresa. I just sort of think, well, I think the fact that that's coming to me, even with these positivity talks a few years ago, I mentioned to a friend of mine, I said, I'd love to have women over for tea, and I'd love to talk about the latest books I'm reading in positive psychology and personal development. And we were laughing and saying, oh, I should call them tea talks. So this is something, and with these positivity talks I'm doing at the Joshua Creek Heritage Arts Center, this is an idea that's been visiting me for probably 3 or 4 years now. I've been thinking about doing something like this. And it's scary, right? And that's the other thing is, as an entrepreneur, it's the fears that come up. And so I'm talking about fun and zest and all that. I have told Teresa, I said, I'll wake up in the morning all full of vim and vigor, like, okay, I'm going to promote this event, I'm going to do this or that. And then by 9 o'clock at night, I'm lying in bed thinking, oh my goodness, what have I done? Like, what am I doing? Or who am I? That's what we always say to ourselves.
Exactly.
And I think that that's where your values can serve you too. It's the hope, and for me in those instances, it's like feeling hopeful that, okay, and feeling love for people, that, okay, I'm putting this out there and serving, and hopefully this will really resonate with people and help people. So it can help us, and it's normal to feel all those feelings of self-doubt along the way.
And the beauty is that you're using your what's really cool is that you're using your values to support yourself with almost self-compassion. You're using your values to move you through, and so you're using them also as your support system. For me, it's shifting my perspective. Perspective is number one. Seeing the beauty in things is number two. And spirituality. Those are the three. Those are my top three. And so when I'm in doubt, I start shifting my perspective. I start to see the beauty in things, and I start to really call on, divinity and tap into more connection. And that's what helps me through. So you can see that the layers and the whole different in the foundation that we start to build when we start learning about our soul values. It's not just about one or the other. It becomes a lifestyle. It becomes a way of living. And that's how we can start to flourish and thrive. And you use the word trust. And I love the word trust, because sometimes when we lean into our values and when we move into our intuition, we do have to trust the process a little bit. One thing before I go down that path with it, I want to say that the one thing I too feel when you're posting or when you're sending out an email or, you know, doing something like that, people are also picking up on the alignment, because when you are connecting from that space and moving from that inspiration, people really connect with that more so than just the push. And that's why, yet we still have to be consistent in our business. You're not going to feel inspired every day. However, when we tap into our soul values and work with our soul values, we do feel inspired more often. We do create that space more often. And so I feel like people pick up that from you, Brenda, is that beauty that you come from and that magic that you're putting out there, because it is really magic, and alignment and authenticity that you put out, which is interesting, because so many of us as entrepreneurs start to look outside for that cookie cutter model. We need to have this, we need to have that, and we need to have A, B, and C, you know, to get to that next level. And those aspects are really good to learn. I've definitely studied marketing. I've definitely studied strategy and funnels and all of that business side of stuff. I also am very spiritual, and I'm also come from that very inspired living and inspired business type of way as well. And I found that combining them is amazing. I also feel like we just get caught up in that cookie cutter model, however, and we don't allow space to do it in a way that feels right to us, in a way that feels good to us. I had a client that, you know, as soon as honestly, I just held space for her to and gave her permission to move into what felt good to her. And she just started to thrive in her business. And so you had mentioned before we got on the call about your branding and how that is looking to people, and you've just done things that actually felt natural. You showed up, you started putting stuff out there, and people are blown away by your branding, and you didn't even realize, but you trusted. So tell me about that.
Yes, it was kind of funny. I had a couple people come up to me yesterday and say, "Oh, I'm loving your branding." And I always thought, okay, like I still have to hire somebody to do my brand. I haven't done that yet. So I sort of, in my mind, I was thinking, what brand, you know? I haven't fully figured that out yet. And what was interesting is, they're recognizing, well, they're like, you know, and I am branding the tea brand, I guess, but I really am passionate about tea. Like, it's not a joke. Like, I really, like, I'm sitting here with my teacup with my favorite tea in it, and I have my teapot because I don't want to run out of tea. But it really is, like, it's legitimate, and I really do. But I mean, I'm definitely playing around with it. So, and I'm, you know, I am using it, but I did not see it as a formal branding. And so I find it interesting that people are seeing it as a branding. And even, oh, your website and your brand. And I feel like that's not an area of strength for me right now. And so I guess, to your point, Teresa, the brand right now is just, it's me being you.
You're branding you're branding your essence, which is beautiful. So then when, you know, because sometimes it does benefit us to hire a branding, you know, someone to brand our website and all of that. When you do, you already know what you're going to create.
Yes.
And that's where we have to start trusting as entrepreneurs that we don't need everything right now. We need to start following that next step that feels really good.
Yeah. And so far that's working, and I have had to trust it and go with it. And so far it is working out well, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm having fun with it. And I think that's the big thing, is when you bring your passions together, And so for me, like a passion is, as I mentioned, tea. Like I really do love that. And that is kind of part of my growing up. I mean, if there's ever a problem, have a cup of tea. If you're getting together with a friend and you really want to connect with them, have a cup of tea together. And, tea solves all problems if you're British, understand. There's that, but it's not just it's about the connecting, and it's what happens with people around, bringing people together. I'm passionate about nature. So for me, with these talks I'm doing, it was really important to find a place that we're on this, I think it's 20 acres of this gorgeous farm, and it's beautiful, and there's flowers everywhere. There's a labyrinth on site. It's gorgeous. And so I think there's a nature deficit that people have. And so bringing that forward, I think, has been really great. And it's something that, nature's so important to me. So I brought that into the equation. A third thing that's really important to me is community, which is part of my soul value of love. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are lonely, and there are a lot of women entrepreneurs. We're behind our computers, and we're not at the water cooler talking to people. We're not, or stay-at-home moms. We're talking to their kids, not spending a lot of time with adults. So for me, I'm really passionate about bringing women together in community. So I brought that forward. And then I love sharing positive psychology. I love learning and sharing. And inspiring others. So I think for me, it was just really natural to say, here are things I really love and I'm really passionate about. Here's an event I would really like to go to myself. That's my acid test, right? It's would I like to go there and do that? And that's just sort of what I'm going with right now. And people seem to be resonating with it. And so far it's working out well.
And it's working, and it's beautiful. And I can totally see that you have leaned in to the essence of your soul and just taking those divine, aligned, and authentic steps. And it's just so beautiful and inspiring to see this within you. I can feel it energetically. I can see it in your face and how you talk about this. Your brand and your business and your marketing and your love of teaching and learning is really coming together through these workshops and the positivity events. And it's inspiring, and your light is shining so brightly. It is so beautiful. And this is why I wanted to bring Brenda on and chat with her, because I want women entrepreneurs to see that we can create something that feels good without that burnout, without that drain, without that push and that feeling of working against ourselves. And I'm not saying that we don't have to show up each and every day to work. I'm not saying that, some days aren't going to be a little more work oriented than others, and we won't face challenges or mistakes. However, we can do it in a way that feels so much more aligned and feels so much better to our soul. And when we start to do that, we inspire others, as you said. And so that is my message here today. And Brenda, you really helped me bring that message to life. So I want to thank you so much for chatting with me. Brenda and I could chat all day. And in fact, in our whole positive psychology class is quite chatty. So it was a very powerful class. And that's another reason why I got to see Brenda shine her light is to hearing her different perspectives and insight in our class. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and you are inspiring. Brenda, tell us how we can get a hold of you or become a part of your event, and tell us any future plans or events coming up.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me on today. This has been wonderful. My website is www.brendajasmin.com. Jasmin has no E, Jasmin. And I have, if you're in the Oakville area or near Toronto, on October 24th, I'm doing a session. My next positivity talk is on passion, purpose, and meaning. And on November 7th, I'm doing another one in Oakville on everyday resilience. And so that's just in time for the holiday season to help us with the stress that can sometimes come with that. And yeah, and stay tuned. Next spring, I'll do another big event. Possibly I'm looking at the Royal York again for another event. So thank you so much, Teresa. It's been a pleasure speaking with you and sharing all of this today. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. And Brenda, I'm going to put your contact in the links and get all that there for you. I may just have to travel down there to your positivity event. So thank you so much. Teresa Mazzella here, your Soulful Business Strategist. If you would like to book a discovery call with me to see if we are a good fit, and if you would like to learn more about how your soul values can really help you thrive within your business, and attract those clients and create those amazing programs with more ease and flow, then you can check me out at www.createasoulfullife.com, which will probably soon be teresamazzella.com. You can find me on Facebook under Teresa Mazzella, or the Facebook group Create a Soulful Life. Have a beautiful day, and remember, lean into your soul values. You will find alignment, authenticity, and you will create a thriving life and business. Have a fantastic day. Bye.
Bye.